excited about that. I'm not a celebratory type of individual.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the YouTube channel. Welcome to Lil-Chevelle Gaming.
Especially after all the success that we're seeing here on YouTube. So,
I want you to hit that like, subscribe button.
Like I said, tonight, Courtney Michelle is going to have an opportunity to respond to some of her comments and some of her responses.
If you haven't already, hit that share button, hit that notification bell to be notified when I hop online.
So if you guys haven't checked that out, make sure to check that out. This part 2 of our interview is actually dropping.
Do this.
So be on the lookout for that. If you ask me, that part 2 is actually better than part 1. There were some things we got into, there were some references that she made that were very, very, very powerful, especially with regards to the African-American dynamic. Gail, I see you. Shout out to you. How you doing?
Yeah, everywhere.
Shout out to our new members. This will become a members-only chat when we bring Courtney up, just to keep everything succinct and keep everything focused. So there's a link to become a member. It should be right next to the subscribe button. I'm sure the mods will also
drop that
the link in there as well. Welcome, Monica. I'm happy you're here. Check out as much as you can. I'm really proud of the work we're doing. So shout out to you for being here. But yeah, so as soon as we start the conversation, this will become a members-only chat. Like I said, feel free to super chat. Feel free to Cash App. I will be focused on Courtney, and I'll be focused on moving the conversation forward and, helping kind of direct what we're going to ultimately gain and glean from her insight. So grab your popcorn, grab your wine, grab whatever you need to grab, and sit back and relax. This is going to be very, 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 very good.
Listen up, we are hiring. So if you are a salesperson, you're not making at least $15,000 to $25,000 a month in net commissions.
So yeah, without further ado, I present to you Miss Courtney Michelle. How you doing, Courtney?
Come on.
I'm doing good. How are you,
Always
Alan?
I am doing
fantastic. I'm excited about our dialogue.
I'm talking to the internet.
It's been good. Yeah. I can't complain, running my mouth as usual in the YouTube streets.
In the YouTube streets, you hold it down. You hold it down. What a lot of people don't know, I actually wanted to point this out. Courtney is a YouTube historian. I have learned so much, especially about this space with Courtney. So shout out to her. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to Courtney's YouTube page. Mods, please add that to the chat. She drops gems, so please make sure to check that out. She's got a bunch of cool stuff coming up. I'm sure we'll collaborate more in the future. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So, how you feeling? How you feeling about? She said, "I'm ready for the smoke. I want a chameleon shirt. Let's do it.
Queen Chameleon, baby.
Let's go. Let's go.
There you go.
Let's go." So since the video dropped, what have you been feeling? What have you been thinking? What's been going on with you?
Oh, okay. So I wasn't prepared for the video for first all the comments, the views, the feedback, the reaction videos. That kind of, I thought I would do pretty well because you do well. You're great at what you do. So I didn't have any, things about that. But then I was like, people watching, and I was reading the comments because I'll be having smoking comments sometimes. And I'm like, okay, and it's just interesting to get people's perspective about what you say. Sometimes I'm like, well, I didn't mean it that way. Maybe I presented it wrong, or maybe I didn't. I don't know. So it was really, really interesting. And the feedback was mixed. It got cruel. But that's
Chameleon. Tuesday's video, I thought I was pretty clever. I called it Chameleonaire. So, what is behind that? Where did it start? Who coined that phrase? What does it mean?
I don't know who coined it. I hear it a lot in this space. I got tagged about being a chameleon. There was a oh fuck it. So there was a situation that I was in that I was going back and forth with a young lady that was non-black, and got heated and emotional. And then there was a YouTuber that has a huge following that labeled me a chameleon because I guess of how I acted during that, the emotions that ran hot, especially with me. So it coined. It's over 150K, and so it's stuck. And it never, I don't know, it was never about anything that I said that I contradicted myself. I've been very consistent on here, but maybe I think it was towards my actions, and I don't know, and that's why, I'm with the smoke. So if it's something that I'm not understanding, that's fine. But, I mean, it is what it is. People think of me as that. Why not friends?
Why not? Why not? So, when you first heard the phrase, the term, how did you take it? Like, how did you interpret what they were trying to say about you?
So, at first, when I think of a chameleon, and I think of it on a business aspect of being adaptable, where you are able to, go to the ball and then go to a Laker game. So I'm thinking it's being adaptable in my head. And I'm like, well, what the hell is wrong with that? But then kind of asking, it was pretty much someone that says whatever to get the liking or the backing of a group of people, but that's not who they authentically are. So it came as if I'm not authentic. And the things that I have to say, in my opinion, is just for the likes, just for someone to cheer me on for something, but that's not who I am. So that's why I'm kind of thinking that.
That's what I was thinking too. I don't think Courtney is a chameleon. I just think she's a woman who thinks like a woman.
Clearly, I'm new to
who's optimistic about her choices and her decisions, which is
okay.
You're supposed to be a little optimistic. There's a difference between being optimistic and being delusional.
Female infiltration is happening. You have some women, female content creators who see a lot of success very, very quickly by simply just reaffirming the things that men say and men think. What are your thoughts on that, and like how do you separate the infiltrators from the people who actually are what they say? They're about what they preach.
Well, I do believe that there are women and men in this space that they personify something that they're not. But for me, it's always been, you can tell someone that's authentic, that's on here being transparent. Someone that's not scared to talk and to pull up on straight. That's how I become a historian. Because I pull up on the people. If you got something to say and it's about me, I have no problem. And I don't care if someone is 2 views or 2,000.
Yeah.
Because I'm authentic. There's nothing that I have lied about or said something that I've gone back on. I stand by everything that I've said in this YouTube space. I am growing, and so a lot of my thoughts and opinions are going to evolve. Mm-hmm. And they should. I shouldn't be the same Courtney that I was yesterday, as I was 6 months ago, as I was a year ago. You should be able to see growth in me. But yeah, there's a lot of people that I'm sure, and you can't necessarily tell, but listen to their message. What are they saying? Are they being off? Are they telling you on based on stories? I've been very to a fault transparent in a lot of my shows, which I don't know if I regret that or not.
Yeah. And you know, I mean, to that point, one of my favorite videos of yours, you and your ex had a conversation. And you know, number one, as a conversationalist, I'm all about conversation that really is the heart of the human experience. So shout out to you for that. Part of why that's interesting is number one, it speaks to your point of being transparent. That's a very, very hard thing to do. Mm-hmm. On the flip side, some of the chameleon conversations come from that particular story. So why do you think so many people misunderstood what you were doing in that conversation with your ex?
So there's a thing where I think a lot of men in this space have been hurt by women, and they're good men. And so when they saw me have a conversation, a civil conversation, to its point, a loving conversation, whom they deemed as a great man, and me doing him harm, or me leaving the situation, it was like, well, there she goes. She had a good man, and she left him, just like all the rest of them.
In Hero Wars, everyone can find a character to suit themselves. We have cyborgs, aliens, vampires.
Honestly thought that.
Yeah, so I think that was maybe some of the comments, and then it's when I still hear it again. That show I think I did was like a year ago, but it's, why don't you get back with him? Why don't you get back with him? This and that, and that's not what that conversation was supposed to be about. It took us years to get to there. And the reason why we broke up wasn't just solely on me, but in that conversation, I wanted particularly black men to see a black woman hold herself accountable. And I didn't want him to speak about the things that he might have done in the relationship, because it wasn't about it. In that moment, I wanted people to see that a woman can hold herself accountable. That a woman can say without a shadow of doubt that I made mistakes in that relationship. I wasn't mature enough to handle that relationship. And through it all, we were able, through communication and through the love of our daughters, be at peace. And loving her means I have to love him. Loving her means I have to make sure that he's good. Loving her means that if we're splitting child custody, there's no reason for him to be on child custody. And for all that, it's because I love my daughter enough to know that she needs a dad. And she doesn't need to see a back and forth fight and cussing and all that. We did that in the beginning. So that's what I wanted to say. I think maybe I did that to some, but then some was like, well, get back with him. You left a good man, just like a black woman just leaving. And then you hear all these stories about good men. And so, again, I think that's kind of deal with that thing. But everybody's story is different. And we fought hard to get to where we are. And let me say this too. Okay? I don't know why men always, not all men, but with some in this space, is get back with them. Why don't you get back with them? Does anybody think that the man has moved on and don't want to get back with the woman? No one says that part. It is always, you need to get back with your baby daddy. That's with your baby daddy. You know, we have a choice in that too. I can't choose to be with someone or just because you think I need to get back. That man has a choice. That man has a life. Just as I've moved on, he's moved on too. The idea is that he's happy and I support him, and it's vice versa. And we do that because we love our daughter. And she's better for it.
So that's a really good point. I mean, you know, I have a daughter, and you know, I'm also not with my daughter's mother. So you know, that conversation is a conversation, especially if somebody preaches communication, intellectual honesty, and the whole nine. Where do you think we are falling short in conversation, and whether in the manosphere or between black men and black women?
Where are we falling short in the communication?
No, just in general, relationships in general. You feel like people are coming in with like animosity, as opposed to coming in to really understand and really be clear on the person, versus think people are seeking to like demonize people. Oh, they're just like every other black man, you know.
That's a really good question. I don't want to generalize everyone in the space, because when I got in this space, I wasn't in it as a hurt woman. I was seeking what I wanted to listen to men because I was getting it.
You know, I just want to say this real quick, just so y'all could know my side of things. Kevin Samuels is the godfather. You could probably say O'Shea Du Jackson is the dad. Shout out to my man's Allen for We Need to Talk. Shout out to him, man, for real. He's a fucking genius. And the way that he put his words together is so much better for the women too, I think. Kevin Samuels is a little bit more direct. He's a little bit more gentler. He honest. He's still honest. Both of them still honest, but I feel like his tone and the way he word things is good. I feel like. So shout out to Allen, man, for real. Go check out his YouTube channel. Go subscribe, man, for real. I watched some of his first stuff too. And the way he explained how men and women see each other so differently was so, oh man. Shout out to Allen. For real. Go subscribe, man, for real. And this conversation between him and Courtney Michelle, I rock with Courtney. You know? I rock with her. I feel like she got a good head on her shoulders. She knows she.
Hardcore kill confirmed. Training time's over.
If anything, and I'm saying this on live, I'm saying this now. If anything, Courtney Michelle was talking to Kevin Samuels before Kevin Samuels was really talking to any women. You feel me? Like, woman talking to Kevin Samuels. But Courtney, G. So. Shout out to her, man. For real. Somebody fucking behind me. I ain't know I had that on here, so Swan did flip. I know you see it. No, you see it.
It wrong, and I wasn't understanding it while what I wanted didn't actually my results. And my brother introduced me to like medicine, and I started everybody does after that. So, but you know, so I came in there seeking that, and I definitely think that there are men and
I
women
know you see
seeking
it.
for understanding and getting other perspectives than just my echo chamber of friends and family.
I think she just said it.
But then there's a flip side. And there are men that are in the space, and there's women that's in the counter space that are hurt.
I'm gonna have to wait till this ad ended, but I think she just said it. She was one of the first women that actually talked to Kevin Samuels.
They've opened an investigation.
So if you really think about it, she gotta be like the OG of the Manos Flesh. So you call her a chameleon is crazy.
I have a challenge for all of you. Go to every computer in your house, your mom's, your dad's, your sister, your brother's computer, and then so on. Wait, Mom, before you check out...
God damn it, chasing your ass, nigga.
And instead of doing the work, we're falling short in the communication when it comes to relationships with a child.
Mm-hmm. No, just in general, relationships in general. You feel like people are coming in with like animosity, as opposed to coming in to really understand and really be clear versus you think people are seeking to like demonize people. Oh, they're just like every other black man, you know?
That's a really good question. I don't want to generalize everyone in this space because when I got in this space, I wasn't in it as a first woman. I was seeking what I wanted to listen to men because I was getting it wrong, and I wasn't understanding then why what I wanted didn't match up with my results. And my brother introduced me to like Kevin Samuels, and then I started listening to everybody thus after that. So, but you know, so I came in there seeking for that, and I definitely think that there are men and women that get in this space seeking for understanding and getting other perspectives than just my echo chamber of friends and family. But then there's a flip side, and there are men that are in the space, and there's women that's in the counter space that are hurt. And instead of doing the work, they're content on just being heard and getting enjoyment out of censoring. So let's just take the woman's side. You know, there's a young lady, Cynthia G, who she says a whole lot of stuff degrading black men. I think it comes out of her, the divestment women. It comes out of her because someone hurt them, but they're wanting to be stuck in that.
Oh shit! Sorry, teammate. Oh no, that wasn't me. That was him.
And that's not growth. Same here. There's content creators in this space that just talk about black women. There's nothing in the comments. Turn them on. Yeah, that's right. Go your own way, black man. Save yourself. To Thailand and get you somebody other than a black woman. I don't. It's not growth.
And to that point, if you guys haven't already, a couple weeks ago, I did a live, actually, first ever live. I had a conversation with a divester, and you know, for those of you who watched it, I've seen the comments. I was also frustrated. It was definitely a frustrating conversation. It was, but I left it smarter, I think, than I came in, and not necessarily like I learned any information, but I got some more insight. And part of the insight that I got is, you know, when we talk about cognitive dissonance, a lot of times we have to believe certain things for our trauma to make sense. So in the case of the divester, even when she was being hit with facts about how well black men are doing and how fantastic black men are, if her trauma is different from that experience, she has to pedestalize her trauma for it to make sense. So it's like, you know, black men are doing this and doing that. Well, I've never seen those black men. All I've seen is this and the flip side. I think that's also one of the things I'm critical of in this space. Some of our men have been so traumatized, and we speak to that trauma as well. And we pay homage to it. They've been so traumatized that they must
Multiple enemy spy plane
for
contact.
their trauma to make sense, right? And I think, you know, channels like Fresh and Fit have made a living off of exploiting certain men's traumatic experiences. So I don't want to minimize what people do, but I think it's important that we're clear on, are you speaking from trauma, or is there something natural that makes this person bad or problematic? Do you have a response to that?
I agree. I think it's pain is profitable. And when people start talking about solutions or they don't get as much views. When people start being accountable on both sides, because both have messed up a lot. They're called beta. They're called pygmies. It's just a lot of just labeling. And for me, I'm just wanting to get this shit right.
Come up with a solution if you only focus on the problem.
Every wind pushes back the Iron Curtain.
And that's plain and
Green on all
simple.
objectives.
And I don't have all the answers, but I'm not going to have them if I'm not listening. That's why I'm in this space, because I am listening. And I always have. The chameleon thing, it has never been about what I've never in this space have been disparaging, disrespectful to any black man, even the one that disagreed with me and called me out my name or made disgusting videos about me.
Yeah.
I haven't let that deter or cloud my image of black men, because I was raised by black men. I have 3 brothers, I have a dad, I have a stepdad. The men raised me, so I know greatness when I see it, and I see it in black men. But it has never been that. It is always, I think it's been me. Well, I know what it's been. I think when I entered into this space and started off on the network with Heath, it was as if I was supposed to be the Shirazad Ali and holding the black women accountable and making content saying black women don't get it and black women this and black women that. And that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to learn as well, hold other people accountable, but I hold myself accountable in this space. And so when someone sees me get angry black woman and emotional, that idea that they had of me dissipates. And then I become just a regular woman. And I am just regular. I'm not anything special. I just listen. And I try to think logically before I move. But that's it. I never want to be on some kind of pedestal. I don't want people thinking, well, Courtney changing up and Courtney, no. Courtney is growing and Courtney's just tired of pointing the fingers and just saying everything that we're doing bad, because it is some good women out there, black women. And there's great black men, and I want to showcase them. I want to talk about that. I want to talk about the greatness in our community instead of always downgrading it, because that affects me.
So, in your opinion, and you can direct this to the men. How would you, if you were a man? I mean, that was one of the questions that we covered in our upcoming video. How would you distinguish
MI6, eliminate all hostiles.
who isn't familiar, or who has those traits that people are thinking about when they think about it, and a woman who is genuine and might have been emotional at the time, or might have had a greater point, or wasn't being understood? How would you make that distinction?
I think what a chameleon is a woman running game. So if you can't see game from a mile away, then you get hooked on a chameleon or someone that's pandering to you. But they have always said if you listen to a woman long enough, she'll tell on herself.
Got a lot of false flaggers nowadays.
Just
Running
listen.
rampant.
What has she been saying? Has she said something that now it doesn't look correct? She said something, then last week she said something different. Because it's easy. Everything is recorded. People still tell me about videos I did a year ago. And I'm like, I said that, but it's been always consistent. I don't think people need to put their whole trust on YouTubers. How many comments that I see, especially with like other ones, like changed my life and this. We just like y'all. We're just on here talking and saying our opinion, and if it hits you, that's legit. I've talked. People be sending me messages. I be talking back. What's up? What you think about this? You was wrong. I like explaining myself. People like I was wrong. But just listen. They said, you know, the people say.
I was ready. Like old school hot spaghetti. I was ready.
Black folks put it in a book. It's because we don't do our due diligence. We're so quick to, if someone says something, it gotta be true.
Turret detected in your AO.
If someone makes a video,
it's in that room upstairs.
Stat, which is one thing that I'm combating because there's been a lot of wrong stats in our community, especially online. But they believe it because they there's a stat that said, what is it that
remember it, please, Court.
17% of black women that have babies that are unwed mothers, that their babies are born with no daddy, 70%. The stat is wrong. It's 46%, which is extremely high. But no one looks to dig in to make sure things are right. Just because some of your favorite YouTuber might say something doesn't mean it's true. You got to dig a little deeper. And we're not doing that. We take everything for face value and we believe it.
We pulled ahead.
Don't do that to me. Don't do that to Ellen. Don't do that to anyone. If you believe something cool, you like it cool, but dig a little deeper. That's how you can know if someone's authentic.
So let me ask you this. And, you know, we've had the conversation about, I have a marketing background, so I'm also a branding nerd. So it's like documentaries and then branding. What would you say? Or let me put it like this. How do you in this space on YouTube? Like, what do you think is unique about your voice, about your perspective, about your conversations, particularly conversations concerning black men and black women?
I think that I think I'm different because I have the nerve to admit of making mistakes. That's being wrong.
Turret active.
That's imperfect.
This isn't working. We're behind.
So I think that's different because I'm transparent. I think it's different that I can admit to being 39 years old and a single mom. And still being able to have these tough conversations even when I'm getting joked on. So I think that's different. And I think what now is being different is, you know, I'm not on and I've never been, but I think people are starting to see that I'm not just on the man bandwagon, and I'm just not jumping on and saying whatever the man says must be true. Truth is true. It's not relative to a gender. And so that's what I'm on. I'm on truth. I'm on transparency. And I just want to have honest conversations. So I think this makes me different. I see a lot of women in this space that just make videos, just man's right, man's right. I mean, that's cool, but sometimes they're wrong. And it's okay to say that. But it gets scary because once you disagree, or they see you out of pocket, or they see you not in what they think that you need to be, then you get this. And at this point, I'm embracing it. You call me what you want, but I'm not shutting the hell up.
I finally found something interesting to do during YouTube ad rolls. I'm leveling Rufus now.
So, you know, going back to the whole brand, whenever I was consulting,
these niggas got on flat jacket for every fucking thing.
Who are you?
He on the train.
What do you want to be remembered
Tunnel.
for? So I'm gonna pose that question to you. If your internet went out permanently, if if you couldn't make another video, jump on another channel, another stream, when people think of Courtney Michelle, what do you want them to think of? What do you want them to remember? Whether it's something you said, whether it's something you lived by, whether it's a chance that you took in the chase. What is you?
What is
What is
Inbound.
What is me has always been family. That is one thing that I've always stood by. The importance of mom and dad. If things work out, daddy still needs to be there and involved.
Ooh,
Period.
shit. Guess we should have had a trophy system.
I want people to always know if the system is out and she don't say another word. But what is she going to be remembered for is
Take your time.
Don't let them take this away from you, MI6.
authentic. Yeah. Which, chameleon thing, shut that to hell. But, I want someone that's honest and not scared to be honest and not scared to be themselves.
In the turn, reporting hostile contacts.
And that's in general, wherever I want to go. It's like, man, Courtney, a real one. And that's what I want to be, a real one.
I think that's
Bollocks. They got the best of us.
when I think about what I want to be remembered for, authenticity is one of those things as well. So let's transition to. We got 339. So we've got a good bit of people. I'm assuming they're here to hear you respond to the video that we put out. I think it was 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
Now, what do you remember from that conversation? And then we'll walk through that conversation together, and then we'll get into some of the responses. So what do you remember from that conversation
That we had.
Yeah.
Well, what I remember is my feelings in it. I think that was probably the most thought-provoking conversation that I've had on YouTube. You made me really, really think. I think I remember having my aha moment as far as talking about relationships. And, that's not what we're in essence wanting. It looks good on paper. It looks good on social media, but that's not what we're wanting because we're not working for it. So that was memorable to me. Of course, that end part that you want to clip up. That was memorable.
Yeah. It's throwing numbers on the short shelf, too.
I said it is a past thing. Because I didn't even want to say that. It was in my head, but I was like, I like to be told what to do.
Authenticity.
Right, but it's facts. Like I said, I don't like making decisions. I like that. Say what I need to do. Thank you very much. Then I'll do it. So that was definitely memorable, but I think the experience that I had working with you was awesome. And let me just toot your horn for a second, because I've said this to you before, that you're different and you're able to have these conversations, but not be, it's not fighting and a blame game. It's literally having conversations, and you're able to get out of women maybe some things that we just don't know. And it sucks that when I look at your videos and I see these women talking, and then, you know, the chat goes, she's delusional, she's this and that. But I'm looking at the woman, and in her core, I'm like, she just doesn't know and is ignorant.
Right.
And it's not, you know, and it's not like these women are bad women, they want to hurt men, and they disrespect men, they just don't know. And so it's really, really hard to see sometimes the ignorance that we have because we just don't know, and then conveying it in a conversation, and then it's, you're dumb, or just this. I don't know how to overcome that ignorance, especially us being my age and women my age still have that. A lot of ideas of fairy tale fantasies of that. That's, I think, what I'm trying to work on is like the whys and getting out of that. I still.
And I think, you know, your honesty, your transparency with that is remarkable. You know, one of the things that I do hear a lot. You hear an echo?
No.
They've opened an investigation into your connection with the death convoy. Encouraging it.
I'm hearing the fucking playback.
Give me 1 second.
You sound good on mine.
Okay, yeah, just gonna keep riding. But anyway, one of the things I hear a lot is, you know, how are you so patient? How are you so calm when some of these women say, I'm ready? I think, you know, to answer that question squarely, I have been privileged. How about now? Okay, I don't hear them.
Petty, Tay, what you doing?
I'm gonna glance in the chat real quick.
Mill Joker,
Had a lot of intersections.
you think I'm crazy? I'm out of here.
I had to navigate a world that I didn't really know anything about, and I couldn't approach that world.
Oh.
And, you know, growing up, having to navigate women, even though I have sisters, really not.
Black and Black Ops 2, boy. You used to shoot through that ring. There we go, there we go, there we go.
The experience of trying to assimilate and trying to better understand.
I know he's mad because he's like, I just put that up there. Yeah, we did that.
Conversation. Realize that some of the delusions, some of the things that we all talk about in the barbershops, trust me, I'm in those conversations. A lot of that comes from something. A lot of that comes from an uncomfortable number of our women have molestation in their past, have physical and mental abuse in their past. Sometimes the saddest part about it is not even necessarily when they were women. And one of the quotes that I heard is that trauma keeps you at the age you were when you experienced it. So even if
wait, what the man just said? Trauma keeps you at the age that you experienced it. Whoo! Trauma keeps you at the age that you experience. So if you experience drama at 6, that's the age you stay at. Oh Lord. 17 motherfucking 38. Woo!
We're losing this fight.
in the 30s.
I need to hear that again, G.
Awesome. And let me
We're
just
full ahead.
toot your horn for a second, because I've said this to you before, that you're different, and you're able to have these conversations, but not be, it's not fighting and a lame game. It's literally having conversations, and you're able to get out
Multiple
of women
hostiles
maybe
sent it. It's working your
things
AO.
that we just don't know.
We're close to the
I guess
lead.
Cold War is supposed to be
And
a
it
little bit
sucks
more
that
realistic.
We're pulling
Because
ahead.
in
when I
Modern
look at
Warfare,
your
you
video
healed.
and I see you talking, the chat goal is delusional.
You regenerate. You
This
Piccolo
and that.
in
But I'm looking at
Modern
some of
Warfare.
these before.
Cold War, you dying.
And it's not,
Dead.
you know, and it's not like these women are bad women. They're
Enemy spy
whatever
plane inbound.
women. They disrespect me and they just don't know. And so it's really important, the ignorance that we have because we just don't know, and then conveying it in conversation. And then it's, oh, it's this. I don't know how to overcome that ignorance, especially us being my age and women my age that still have that, a lot of ideas.
Where you going, Lord Figgy?
That's, I think, what
Lord
I'm trying
Yicky?
to work on is like the why and getting out of
Lord
that.
Icky? I gotta blow up this sentry gun.
And I think
Sentry gun down. Bow.
Your honesty, your transparency with that is remarkable.
I reloaded. Yeah, I reloaded, boy. I'm hurt like a motherfucker.
One of the things that I do hear a lot, you're in echo.
No.
I think I'm hearing echo on my end. Give me 1 second. Okay, yeah. Right.
Buddy, lag.
But anyway, one of the things that I hear a lot is, how are you so patient? How are you so
Enemy spy plane inbound.
calm when some of these women say outrageous things? And I think, to answer that question squarely, I have been privileged, by now.
I'm in McDouble.
Okay, I don't.
Hey, did you just put that there? Oh, y'all just dying now. Y'all just running into the bullets now, huh?
Yeah, so I've been privileged to sit at a lot of intersections. Primarily coming to this country from Nigeria, I had to navigate a world that I didn't know anything about, and I couldn't approach that
Area
world
secured.
with
We are in control.
And growing up, having to navigate, even though I have sisters, we're being honest, most men don't know anything about women. And I was privileged to transfer the experience of trying to assimilate into another country into trying to better understand women. And when you start having real, deep, substantive conversations with women, you realize that some of the delusions, some of the things that we all talk about at the barbershops, trust me, I'm in those conversations, a lot of that comes from trauma. A lot of that comes from an uncomfortable number of our women have molestation in their past, have physical, mental abuse in their past. And sometimes the saddest part about it, it's not even necessarily when they were women. It was sometimes when they were children. And one of the quotes that I heard is that trauma keeps you at the age you were when you experienced it. So even if a woman is in her 30s, 40s, a man is in his 30s, 40s, 50s, for all intents and purposes, they could still operate like 10-year-olds. So with that understanding, I'm very graceful in dealing with people and having conversations with people. So maybe that's why this channel has been effective, but my main goal, my main mission is to encourage people and to model how to do that. Because I think if we can all take a little piece of that in our everyday lives and everyday conversations, man, we can get the black family back together.
Yeah, I agree, and I heard that about trauma too, and I actually heard, to get even more deeper, is that a lot of women that has been traumatized with sexual assault, you can tell by their voice. They'll have a childlike voice, a little bit more of a innocent, childlike voice, even though they're older. So it does stop, the Maslow law of hierarchy. If you don't feel that security, you are stuck. And if you don't get that fixed, and we're now really starting to talk about But let's be real, our therapist was the pastor. We weren't getting help. We've been stuck in a whole lot of trauma and not getting help for it. I agree, and your approach is correct. But I think it has where in a space where we can grow. It's listening to yourself having the conversations where it's just you and me, and I literally think, and then I listen back, and it's like, damn, I didn't. Is that right? You know, that's growth to me. So I appreciate you.
We've pulled ahead.
I think you're doing the Lord's work.
I appreciate it. Somebody called me the Mr. Rogers Kevin Samuels.
Okay.
I'm gonna come out with Mr. Rogers Kevin Samuels. Right.
Right. Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah. So, let's get into the video, right? So the first thing that I remember, well, it wasn't the first thing you said, but it was the first part of the video. It's the first clip that I started. You said that you had a conversation with Kevin Samuels, and he said, you go ahead. I'm gonna let you say it. It's your word.
Well, all right. Well, that man told me that, in essence, if you believe in if you believe all this and what you're saying, it's pretty much show and prove. Then you need to get married, and that's how you shut the naysayers up. That's how you build. If you want to make a difference, then have a family. And I wholeheartedly believe it.
Pipeline available for
Because again, I believe in the nuclear family. So, and however that will look like to me, it would be step. And for me, it would be being a stepmom. So that essence.
So y'all like camp now, basically, huh?
My goal is to have. And I totally believe that. And I can't wait. Have a little hug.
have a Superman, right?
That's what you right.
Yeah, Superman. Yeah. So,
and well, let me say that too, because I don't want. I think when I say Superman, it's my Superman, because I believe that in my crazy self. He's going to be my superhero, and I'm not saying that he's going to have on a cape and 6 foot tall and 6 figures. Like, that's not a superhero. Is someone that's willing to take this 39-year-old woman with a child and still love her. And for me, in that essence, is a superhero.
Real.
And it's mine.
Enemy spy plane.
That's right. So let's address it directly. Since that video is done, since we had that conversation,
get from over here. They got,
what are your thoughts?
They got scope.
On
3x or better.
That statement that Kevin Samuels told you. If you're really about that life, you gotta be about that life, right?
Right.
So say more about what you really think about that, and then
I totally agree with you.
Enemy sentry turret detected in your AO.
I will say this. I'm sure enough tired of people asking me how come you get married, where your husband, where you blah, blah. Man, these people are wanting to know my whole relationship. I ain't married yet. Doesn't mean I'm at home knitting. This ain't happened yet. Ain't nobody proposed. He hasn't proposed yet. So we shall see. So that's a process. And again, I'm very careful. I'm a mom, so I just can't just marry. This So, but man, when I tell you, and I'll be honest, it's pressure. It's pressure.
Say more about that pressure. What do you mean exactly?
Well, back in the day, I think women, when they hit 25, a lot of their parents, 25, don't get married. I don't think women, as far as a black woman, I don't think we hear that at all anymore. I think when we hit 25 and 30, it's like, okay,
Hey, ooh, doggy. Walk it. I know they mad. They just got smoky smoke. Fuck you talking about, boy? Like this motherfucking blunt you smoking, boy. Oh, baby, boy.
At all.
We just, Buddy wrapped him up through the door. I think he got 4 kills through the door. And then I got a bloodthirsty.
You know, my mom was
because it's how they respond.
You know, I was like, it's about that time for it now.
Hulk smash they goof. Oh my mama, I know they heated. Oh, I know he mad. He almost had the sentry gun. He was finna whack you. So congrats, boy. They on your ass, boy.
Okay. And it's to a point where now I can have conversation that has nothing to do with marriage. I could be over here talking about foundational black people and they do. And they like, well, you can't talk about being black because you got married. That's it. Okay. Now I'm over here talking about going to Target and buying a BOGO. No, you can't buy a BOGO because you ain't married. So, it's like, so it has been like pressure, and I understand.
Did we kill each other? Hey man, this dude fast.
So a question just popped in my head. So recently.
Oh boy, you ugly as hell in my face, boy. You got some new character? That motherfucker ugly. Change characters. That bra ugly. Oh, mama.
He was on. I think he was on
straight. She a solid 3.
Yeah, he's pretty solid.
Shorty pop Dino in this mother. Oh my mama changed characters.
My question is,
Shorty,
what do you think?
ugly as hell. Oh, alright, good shit. It's still a teammate, so I ain't tripping.
And having that success says you validate your stance in this space.
What's the mission?
Explore.
I haven't put myself out there.
Hold on, y'all. Let me back out real quick.
So the dating that I have been doing has been.
I think it's glitching low key.
And I haven't allowed myself.
I don't know why it does that.
The opportunity for a man to get into my space. So it still has been me. And you know, and I think it's been fear. Fear of man, damn you. Okay.
Transparency. You said transparency.
Okay, yeah. You know, I mean, I'm scared.
This is important.
So yeah, and I'm like trying to get over that fear. Because for a long time I thought I wasn't lovable.
What can we do as black men, as black people, to make each other feel more lovable? Because that is a common thing. That is a very common thing. And part of my work is to bridge that gap, that understanding gap, because that's real. Like, if you don't feel like you deserve goodness, you won't attract goodness to you. You'll actually sabotage it, right? And I've been there. Exactly, I've been there. I'm sure you've been there. I'm sure people in the chat have been there as well.
Yeah, I think that's what the word is there, because I normal girl, gone through my trauma as well, and when I did talk to my therapist, I think it started where my dad left me when I was like 2, and then I had some not good experiences with men, and just kind of talking about it, it's been where my dad didn't even love me enough to stay.
Yeah.
So I didn't trust men, even though I don't think men are bad, but it was, my dad wasn't even there to stay. He left me. And I didn't know him until like 30. And that was some of the healing that I've had to go through, is connecting back with my dad. And he's, that's my best friend. That's my nigga right there.
Hey, shit.
But that was a process. That was a process. But, it's opening myself up, which I have been scared to do, because I'm still trying to work on my self-confidence. And, not feeling lovable or worthy enough for years. I mean, it's taken time. Now, I can see myself as an adult person, but it's like, okay, you gotta let yourself go. You gotta let someone see what you know that you are. And I think that's the phase that I'm in now, is being okay with opening up myself. And even if it doesn't work, and even if I get hurt, if I don't take it, it happens for me.
Absolutely.
So I think that's where I am now.
And that's beautiful. One of the things I preach a lot, especially to people who are committed to the ideal of a black family, the black man, the black woman together, I preach grace. There's a certain level of grace. The easy way out is to get you a white woman, get you a white man. That is the easy way out, right? Mm-hmm. There's certain things that we're going to have to swim through to get to each other. What is grace? What do you think we need to understand? If there's somebody watching this right now and he's your Superman, what does he need to understand to get your walls, your BS, and all the trauma and the whole nine to get to you?
I think grace for me looks like taking patience, being patient with me. And I'm not perfect. I have faults. And there's still, I'm never going to be perfect. I'm going to make mistakes. But the grace is being patient with me and knowing that the mistakes that I make it's dimmed out of not knowing or trying to learn. There's a lot of stuff that I'm having to relearn. And I hate that I'm doing it at this age, but a lot of us are. But shit, I'm doing it. And the grace is, man, and maybe this is why I'm scared, because I'm like, okay, I'm yearning for someone to love me through it all.
Want to have a side hustle bringing you an additional income, but you don't want to have to build websites or funnels or create videos.
And I want to love him through it all. Like, I'm just like, listen, you know, I'm always on somebody's side. My strength and my downfall is my loyalty. And if I wrong, even though you might do something, you know this, I'd be like, man, if I'm invested, I'm loyal, and sometimes it is to a fault. But in a relationship, that's definitely something that I have to do. Is that, you know, if I ain't going nowhere, and I don't want to go nowhere, I want to make this work, and I want it reciprocated.
One of the things that I guess is I used to get really frustrated before because I expected women that I was dealing with, women that I was involved with, romantically or even like just I expected them to have the same type of thought and sequence of reasoning that I did. I expected them to be pragmatic. 1 + 1 = 2. And then I learned that, and I say this in a loving way, I will explain. Female energy is chaos. Female energy is chaotic, and the reason that is because creation happens in chaos. Think about, if you go scientific, the Big Bang, that was a chaotic experience. Think about a woman being created from God ripping out Adam's rib. That is a chaotic experience. Think about childbirth. That is a chaotic experience. A tree pushing its way through dirt. That is chaos. Creation happens in chaos. Creation. So there is, at its unhealthiest, it can be very.
I ain't even look at it that way neither. That's something.
But you know, when it's healthy and when it's in the base,
God literally made these people to get on our nerves, G.
And that was
when you look at it that way, that's basically what it is, G. Oh my fucking God. He made women to get on our nerves, G.
And femininity.
We just gotta be man enough to get it in check, keep it in line. Oh my God.
I think
Hostile air patrol detected.
I don't think some men don't understand that. Women have a lot of different sides, a lot of emotions, and it's not always going to be the feminine, meager woman that you might want all the time. Like, we're emotional, we have estrogen, we're
chaos.
Period.
What the fuck you talking about? You just said it.
And sometimes we do go up and down. I think there's an essence of woman nature that men need to understand. That because we do all emotions.
Damn! What Marco fast with this motherfucking big ass Roman dress?
And it's not a need, it's a momentary thing that next month is different. And that's a little bit of kind of like grace is like, and I think any man that's been in a woman will tell you
Enemy sentry turret detected in your AO.
different next week. And we're really serious. No, this is what I need, this is what I need, and it's not. I think this is why we fail at relationships. It's because the needs that we think that is so important is just wants for that particular time. And then we lose out and we leave a man because of something that we feel like we're not being met.
Ooh,
We realize that the grass
that
is never
heavy
greener
ass
on the other
Roman
side.
dress. Stop your
important for men to
reflexes,
realize
girl. Keep it together.
I think it's important for men to know that women are not your enemy. Black women are not black men's enemy, even though it looks like it. the black women that I know love black men just to fuck. We just try to get it right on how we need to love. Cause like myself, we don't know how. Shit, because sometimes we don't even love ourselves.
Enemy counter spy plane inbound.
Buddy running fast as hell, boy.
You know, that's been one of the things.
Ooh, right up by the ass.
Enemy sentry turret detected in your
Experiences where I was, for all intents and purposes, and I didn't get out, but I felt like I deserved
enemy care package above.
And when we talk about this concept, especially the red pill, alluding back to the Matrix, you know, you take that pill and you see what it is. And I think we don't talk about enough is the fact that a lot of boys in life,
Enemy spy plane inbound.
we were told that women were a certain way. You buy her 2.5 flowers and you take her on 39 days and she will give you the box. And you know, it's sequential because that's how men think. Until you understand that, problems don't mention that. Until you understand that sometimes good to be true is scary. And that's something I've had to learn. So like for men who are experiencing, you go to any barbershop, there's red pill rage, any conversation. I probably had red pill rage 2 days ago, right? how what do you have to say to men, to boys, to men older than you even, who are experiencing that sense of women aren't what these days are called.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong. They need to know. They need to know the real in relationships. So, but the rage part is like, chill.
Look at
I
him.
understand being red pilled.
I am the guardian of the century gun. Fear me. Hear that, boy.
The idea of the knight in shining armor. My red pill was the wall. These are women's red pill moments where it's like snap out of it, just go back to reality.
Oh shit, sorry teammate. Oh, they ain't winning anyway, Jason. We good.
It shouldn't deter you or make you stagnate.
Hey, for some reason though.
Now maybe you're mad at yourself or
I ain't
mad at
gonna cap.
situations or
This
I didn't know
game
it
seemed
like
kind of
this.
slow.
I mean, okay.
You got motherfuckers laying on their dick.
How long do you want to be in the rage? And how long do you want to be upset? Do you even want to be with a woman for real? I've seen comments, and even in yours, where I went back and forth with some guy saying love is fake and no one truly loves anyone. I don't subscribe. I think the idea of love is not Valentine's Day and flowers. I think the idea of love is sacrificing oneself for another. And sometimes it doesn't look great. But that's what true love is. And I think, again, I'm a Christian, so I think about how God loves me, how Jesus loved me, and He gave His life. Love is sacrifice. And I think you have to sacrifice to make things, or call it compromise, to make a relationship work. But for me, that's what love looks like. When I chastise my child, I'm doing it out of love because I love her. And I want her to get it right. I want her not to make the mistakes that I've made. And that's any parent should do that. But I get red pill rage. I get it. You know, I was told before, when I said that, how long are we going to be stuck in this hurt? And I had multiple men tell me, you black women have done this to black men for over 50 years. So now it's your turn. 50 years of us talking shit. Where is that going to get us? It's a tit for tat. And so that's why I'm I'm really trying to grasp, like, okay, so what is the point of some of this shit? So do you want to do a tit for tat? So now you want black women to pay for making no scrubs? Like I had a man, you said y'all made a song No Scrubs about us. Well, first when you say black men, it was a song written by women and men. And they didn't make, TLC ain't make no money off of it. They went broke. But it's a song. Well, you made the color purple. Yeah, but how long are we gonna do this? You want us to pay 50 years for what you said black women put you through. How does that move us forward? And so that's not what I get, even with the Cynthia G, you know, or when men get annoyed when they hear black women say niggas ain't shit, black men ain't shit. But now what am I hearing? Black women ain't shit, black women is this and that. Where is this getting us? The contentment that we have amongst each other is going to be the detriment of our community. And so one of us gotta wake the fuck up. One of us got to be like, look, okay, now what? And I'm coming to the table to let you know that I'm your ally. I'm not your enemy. I've never disrespected you and I never will.
So to that point, you know, earlier we talked about the grace that our women need from us. When we're talking about these experiences that lead men to the red pill race, lead men to the angry dialogue that we see sometimes, what specific type of grace or what specific concessions do you think black women, the delegation, should be making for black men in lieu of these specific hurts that were suffered at the hands of black women? And I'm not just, because I think sometimes we talk a lot about the deadbeat dad. We talk a lot about the toxic father. We don't necessarily talk enough about the toxic mother, and especially how that grace black boys turn into men. So with those understandings, you know, I'm a big advocate for grace. What grace is owed to black men from black women?
That's a good question. I think black women need to admit that. I think black women need to admit that our ideas that we've had of black women have not been true. Black men are good men. They're good fathers. They want to be fathers. I think black women need to hold ourselves accountable when we see black women using their child as a weapon to hurt the man when it has to hurt the child, especially if you have a black son. Those conversations need to be talked about. They need to be checked. I think black women need to admit wrongdoing. I was having a conversation with someone, and we're like, who can tell black women that they're wrong? Who can, when you hear like Pam for Martin with Tashina Arnold, and her comments, and who else is 6 or 7, 8, the pushback of black women versus wondering, you know, why are we treating black women like this? Do they deserve what we've been giving them? And just a simple question gets attacked. Destiny's Child song, the Cater to You, and how they try to cancel that because they are talking about catering to their fans. Who can tell black women that they're wrong and that they shit dusty, you know? And no one can. No one can tell black women that they shit wrong. I haven't seen one. Monique tried. She got pushed back. I said Pam for Martin, pushed back. Hell, Young Van Zandt. It's all been pushed back when women are understanding, like, we are not black women. You need to be critical. I haven't found anyone that is able to.
as a woman, what do you think needs to happen? Because, you know, because men critique each other more than I think women acknowledge. And men, especially when being critiqued by a superior, somebody he views with respect and reverence, like he takes that, you know. And for all intents and purposes, even some of the stupid things that land them in prison, a lot of times it's for the adoration of women, right? So men are listening for the most part. What do we need to do? You know, since you're on the inside, you're part of the female delegation. I saw you at the meeting last week.
I was there.
What do we need to do to get women
Enemy care package aboard.
being our women in particular, receptive to critique, to reason? What needs to happen?
If I had that answer, I would sell it in a bottle. I think it's going to, for the small part, women not being scared to say it. Once women start kind of speaking up and being critical, and no one is beyond reproach. Black women, you are not. So, but when we started,
This isn't how we drilled it. Pull it
no
back.
backlash. And so a lot of women, I think, are making scared to speak out because if they do, you're going against the quote-unquote sister code. So, maybe, I don't know what it's because when I do trying to speak out or say something, and they're already getting canceled, or I know I put something on my page, I love black women, the investors went hard on me. I don't know. I have not agreed on how a black woman can hold another black woman accountable for the actions done, and for women to hear or to even understand.
Okay.
I think we've made it where we don't have
Good
time
game.
for you. I'll just do nothing you say.
What happened? You forget what we're doing here?
And that's champion. It's champion. So maybe, and I don't know what would be the consequences. I don't know.
And I think it speaks to the rebellious spirit. Keep, hearing come up about women are rebellious, rebels, this and that. And I think something that isn't often acknowledged, a lot of times when we talk about this manosphere, the red pill community, things like that, I think we often misrepresent them because maybe it's just my channel. When I look through my comments, when I look at the profiles, when I look at the chats and the super chats and the whole nine, what a lot of people don't realize, a lot of these men are married men. A lot of these men either currently married, divorced, high-earning, men of integrity, community men in the whole nine, and they're looking back and saying that this is unacceptable, right? And we need to speak up about this and things of that nature. So, for instance, Friedman's Journal, that is a married man. You know what I mean? And a lot of times when we see some of the women who are so quick to cancel other people and things like that, and the ones who have the most to say, they don't have even one marriage, talk less of a current marriage, to speak of. They haven't seen success in this thing that they're talking about. They haven't, quote unquote, done things the right way, even if it failed. So why do you think that is? And furthermore, those are the ones that women are more willing to or enthusiastic about listening to.
What, the married men?
No, the women who have no success in relationship or anything like that.
That's another great question. Why?
Sounds like two people were interrogating.
I've seen it in the space too. Even people that are critical of black women are married and been married for a long time. Matter of fact, I see one in the chat. What's going on, JC Conqueror? I see you. Married man. But it's very, very critical. So this is my question. Why? Why aren't these men that are married making content about being happily married? Why aren't women that are married, and I mean, it's not a big percentage of us, but there are some that are married. Why aren't they making content about being happily married? Are they happily married? Are they just married to be married? I think it's fascinating that a lot of men in this space are married, but have the biggest critique. I don't know because I don't know why that is. Why aren't, and I think in this space, I think it's hard where it has to be somewhere where men that want to be married can go. I think it needs to be a space that where married men that champion marriage, in particular marrying black women, it should be a space for them. It should be a space, this is what I would love to curate as a space for black women that want to love on and marry a black man. We don't have those spaces. At all. And I don't know if we want to listen to someone that's happily married, because it would honestly kill a lot of rhetoric that we hear. Because all I hear is how bad we are, and how we're losing, and how this. And I'm really searching, and I really want to see someone happily married, not just married just because. I don't want to live that life. I want something healthy. I said the other day, my husband walked in the house 5 o'clock, I wanted 2 set days up for. Just two. How come people ain't talking about that? That's what I want to hear. Girl, how you put them on them after you cook them? We don't have that.
I'm gonna say something, and it's something I said earlier, and I want you to respond to it. I think the reason why the manosphere is filled with actually married men, I think it's because men actually want to be married. I'm not sure women do. And, to our conversation, I think women are in love with these things. Instead of romance, but actually, the beauty, we start talking about submission. It's like,
I like that.
Oh, I don't want that. I'd rather be single.
Oh, my mom.
So, do you think women actually want to marry?
Nah.
Especially our women.
Nope. Not at all. Not today.
Yeah, well, I got that.
No, not the right way. Not the right way. No, these bras want to live in separate houses these days.
But
I'm not paying 2 rents. Yeah, okay. Fuck, I look like coming home, taking a shower. We're coming to your house. And we men. Fuck, I look like a goofy. Tweaking and geeking, baby. Tweaking and geeking, shorty. I wish you the best in all your endeavors, though.
And I hate thinking about but always waiting for I could do better in a good relationship. But still on the fence, not giving 100% because they think that there's another guy that's going to accept them or be with them or give them this particular lifestyle. And that's why a lot of us have to get married because, or get a divorce when we are, because they think, again, the grass is greener, the grass is greener, but that's not the truth.
Oh!
So I don't
cap.
think,
I sure
I
did.
think men want to get married.
I don't know why the fuck I did. Like that right there.
I think men have a more realistic idea of marriage because they didn't grow up with the fantasy and the Barbie dolls and the Disney.
Damn! I walked right into a fire.
This is how you have to be a man to provide for your family so they understand provision. Women want to get married because we want the Cinderella effect. And when we don't have that or when we don't see it, we're waiting for it. And it's never going to happen. And I'm a proponent of be with someone that's willing to love you in spite of it all. And that is so powerful because we have a whole lot of bullshit that comes with us. And if you have someone that's willing to love you through it all, shit, that's the one. That's the one. But we don't have those conversations, and women definitely don't have those conversations. Because that means we're settling. And when you talk about settling as a bad, it's a negative connotation. Settling for me is not settling, it's being content. It's being stable. And settling to me is sexy. So we don't have those conversations. So maybe for married women,
what is your plan? So 5-year plan, 10-year plan. What are the next steps that you see in your journey, in your ministry? How do you plan on effectively, not just like we talked about therapy and working through your own issues, and then guiding them to the light. So for Courtney Michelle, what is next for you?
I think what's next to me is what's next for me is really holding myself to the fire. It's really me getting the fuck out of my own way and me showing by doing such. It's faith without works is dead. I believe in something and I have to work for it, and I can't be running my mouth on YouTube and then scared to let someone in my world.
I'm gonna have to restart the game, so I'll be back. Don't worry about it.
If I'm a chameleon for that'd be my chameleon-esque. Is preaching and wanting new to the family, but yet scared to open myself up for it.